Hello everyone. Young people were easily lured into using tobacco and nicotine products, and we end up paying it heavily and suffering a lot, even affecting our family. Today, we have our very own young person who is going to share her story, how she got involved into using tobacco and nicotine products, and how her life has been throughout the journey, and even how she has attempted quitting it and the support or the challenges she has experienced.
So I'm Alice. Thank you for this opportunity, for giving me the chance to talk to the youth and every generation out there about tobacco and how it has affected my health. I hope this will help everyone and let everyone be aware of the consequences of tobacco.
Alice found herself using tobacco and nicotine products. Let's share her story on how she got lured into using these products.
I found myself using tobacco and nicotine products through peer pressure from working colleagues, friends. So I used to hang around with my working colleagues, friends. They used to use the tobacco and the nicotine products, and that is how I found myself using them due to peer pressure, and of which I wanted to feel the more fun they thought they used to have. And we used to thought we have, like using the tobacco and the nicotine product. It's very fun, but for me, I've come to realize it's not a fun thing. At the end of it, you have to face some challenges with it, and you will face the consequences using the tobacco and nicotine products. I was using the cigarette, that is the downhill, and I was using the shisha and the vape, and I used to smoke the normal cigarettes, the number one, and I used to feel the shash. Is it called the shash? I used to have one, two, 2 to 3 rolls in a day, and I used to do the nicotine products like almost all of them. So that's how I got myself using them. And let me tell you, for one, you never know the side effect until you use them. And this is the part where the youths, if you tell them like to quit the product, they won't quit the product, because when you smoke the shash, the most case of the shash, the vape, you feel high.
The cigarette?
The cigarette, it will give you some kind of a steam. And then when you tell a young person or a normal generation, like, quit this thing, they can't quit because they have that highness in them. You feel high. And so like when you come and tell me like to stop, you don't know the fun of it. But at the end of it, after you've used it and you have faced the consequences, that is when you understand what they can really do to you. They can damage your lungs, of which that we don't know. The nicotine product and the tobacco, they will never write kuandika na hapa kwa nini it's harmful. Okay, wataandika ni ile tu ni harmful, but they don't specify how harmful it can be. It actually affects the lungs and the throat. The new generation, the vapes, the pencils, they don't like that thing. They don't like it's harmful. They would just, it's even decorated. It's decorated like a form of, you can't even notice it's something bad. Inakaa tu karamu, inakaa something very unique, of which you have to enjoy very. You want to see how good it can be. Yeah, for the pencils, you meet at some point, iko na ile the flavors. That is the strawberry, there's the lemon, even the dunhills, they have the flavors. Of which whenever anyone use those, wakitumia hiyo sigara, hiyo the dunhill and the vape, utapata tu they are only attracted by the flavors, of which it has a very sweet flavor by the way. And it's very rare to know when someone is using a pencil. It's very attractive. So whenever you see someone holding a pen, you can think it's a normal pen, ile ya kuandika, but it's really a vape. Like most of them, zikiwashwa na hapa chini huwa zinawaka. So I think it's kind of light way. Ile ya kuwakisha inatoa, sasa inaakisha, and then you pull the vape, so you feel high, and the flavor it will attract you. And hata nikivuta huta notice cause hiyo harufu itakuwa ya strawberry. Even when I talk to you, you won't realize I'm using anything. Utasikia tu harufu ya matunda. And anything else like the lemon, the pineapple, like that.
Now we've heard that how you've gotten into smoking and using the nicotine and new generation products. Through the influence from peer pressure and also working-place, how has these products affected your health? Or could you share a bit history after you used these products? How long have you been using the products, and when did you realize that these products had a lot of harmful impact to your health? And which were the signs that you noticed and you were like, let me go to the hospital and be checked on the sign?
I used to do the nicotine products in the year of 2020, and I barely realized that they are very harmful until I started having some sore throat, shortness of breath, coughing. I was having a non-stop cough, of which I was really even straining to breathe. And I didn't realize, at first I didn't realize it's the nicotine products that were affecting me until I took a step of going to a doctor. And I realized after I had a CT scan, the CT scan could show that I have my left lung has been damaged. But according to the doctors, they thought it's something like pneumonia. But again, I never took it so serious, so I continued smoking. I continued using the vape until it got to a point like now I'm out of breath completely. And I went back to the hospital. I got a CT scan, but at that point when I was having a CT scan, I felt I had something that imefura on my left side. I mean, if I could press it, I could feel some pinchy pain, of which I told the doctors, like, I have something that I could feel it's a bit painful, and they told me to have an ultrasound, of which it was like a huge mass, which was growing through the left side, and by then I was even collapsing, and I could even collapse when I'm even seated. I could run out of breath even when I'm seated. And when I got an ultrasound, when they saw the mass of the thing that was growing, yeah, it's swollen, and they told me it can be TB, because by then they thought like I'm affected with TB, and they checked me for TBs, and wakapata like the TB. Yeah, it tested negative, and when I told the doctor I have a swollen thing, wakaniambia it is brought by the TB, of which if I take the TB medicine for 6 months, I was going to be okay. So I took the medicine for 6 months, and nothing was really changing. But by then I had stopped collapsing, but the shortness of breath, I was out of it. And after 6 months, I went back and I told the doctor the swelling is not yet gone, and they told me like it will be gone. So I stayed for around 2 months at home, and I started collapsing again. So we took a step and went back to the hospital, a different one, and we got the doctor who told me like we have to do a CT scan to know what is the problem and what mass, how large is the mass. And when they checked the mass, it was so huge such that zilikuwa zimelalia the veins. Then the nerves that they take the blood into my brain, the oxygen, and that's why I was collapsing. And the doctor told me it was an emergency case of which I have to be operated because I was not getting the oxygen and I was not getting the blood flow in my brain. So I had an operation, an emergency one. And after the emergency operation, the tumor was removed, and it was taken to the lab it was done a biopsy, of which it came out in around 1 month. Got the report, and I was diagnosed with cancer, of which I had to be done more CT scans so that the doctor can know whether it has spread to my body. And that is when I had a head CT scan, a lung CT scan, and a stomach CT scan. And when I had the CT scans, they found that it has maligned to the lungs, the left lung, and that's why I was having the shortness of breath. And that is when I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I was a bit nervous about it. I never got the chance to break down because I didn't know what to do. And this is the part where you're confused. You don't know whether to break. You don't know whether to you're just there. I was working at that time when I realized I have a sore neck, and I was working at that point. So when I started collapsing is when I took my leave, and by then I was working in Kisumu, and that is when I took my leave, and I started having this treatment, of which, to a point when you're working with a company, the work staff has gone, so I had to resign and first attend to my health. My health comes first before everything else. And when I resigned from my work, that is when I started the treatment. And when I realized I'm diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, and I always hear a stage 4 cancer, it's the worst part, like you can find yourself into. I was so nervous. Actually, I was nervous for my parents. I was really nervous how to approach my parents. Like, I've been told I have stage 4 cancer. I had a supportive family, a nuclear, right? They were really supported me, and that is when I started the treatment for the chemo. And actually, let me tell you, this is the part where you truly know who are your friends. You see those friends that we were smoking with, those who introduced me to those things,
The ones who are vaping with?
they ran away. They ran away, like all my working colleagues ran away. I was only left, out of a large number of friends, I was only left with 3 friends that who stood by me. And those were the friends that they were really talking to me like, why are you doing this? Why are you smoking? Why are you having this fun? It's never fun. Like, why don't you quit? Those are the only friends that remained.
And when they were telling you, why are you smoking, did they advise you about the harmful impact of smoking or using tobacco and nicotine products?
No, they were really cautious because one of my friends, the dad used to smoke, really smoke. And the dad got a cancer throat, of which he really, really strained with it. And at the end of it, he passed on. Yeah, he passed on. And so my friend was like, Alice, why are you doing this? Don't you love yourself? And I couldn't listen to her because I needed to feel the fun. I need to feel the fun because she never, I was like, yo, you don't know what the fun about it. Yeah, well, you don't know the fun about it. Like, let me try this. So the peer pressure sometimes it can influence you to a lot of things because at that point you want to feel like, you at a stage, like you don't want to feel at a stage you missed some part and you don't want there's this slogan that is said if you don't do something at a certain age you do it when you're older. So I was really trying to avoid this age, not to pass it and have it doing it when I have kids and I have a family. So my friends were the real one friend, she was like really fighting me to stop and I couldn't reason, and this is why I really regret as to why I never listened to her. Yeah.
So she was mentioning to you about the harmful impacts, or were you having any information about risks that are related to tobacco using or smoking?
She was she was telling me about the risk. She was like here telling me like, Alice, didn't you see how my dad strained with the whole thing? Don't you think like you can, I'm not really, she was like, I'm not, and I quote, don't you think like you can meet yourself in a such situation? And I was like, nah, that is your dad. That is your dad. And in the first place, your dad was old. And you know, I have.
vapes and velos, which
Yeah.
are less harmful. Have you realized that whether you're using cigarettes that the older people are using or were using, and the new generation products, the likes of the pencil, the ones that have flavors, don't you realize, as in, what can you say about those products? Are they the same? Do they have the same effects, or
They have the same effect. The only difference is the flavors. Because nicotine is the nicotine. You can't come and tell me that nicotine is cigar, the vape is not nicotine. Nicotine is nicotine. Be it cigar, be it vape, be it whatever, be it shisha, be it shash, hizo zote ni tobacco and nicotine.
okay? We've seen you now resign, and now the money is no longer coming in as you used to be. Your health is now
Yes.
badly off or worse off, and you have to now strain to get money. When you were diagnosed with cancer, how did you manage to get, or which ways did you manage to use to get money for the medication?
Now that I resigned from my work, I had really a huge challenge because at first, when the income that you are depending on stops and the savings that you're having, that is what you start using. It's a really tough thing. Though I had a supportive family which supported me throughout the chemo. At first, I was done 6 cycles of chemo, of which they never worked. I used to get admitted for a whole week, and I was daily. I used to get chemo. At a point, we could meet the chemo that I'm having. It's not in the hospital. Like we have to get them outside the hospital, of which you could meet one bag of that chemo. It's around 10,000. That is the cheapest, around 10,000. So sometimes we could go back to our pocket and get that medication because like you have to get them. I couldn't get admitted if I didn't have that medication. You have to have it so that you can get admitted. And I had 6 cycles, and then I went back for my CT scan, of which when you go back for your CT scan, that is when they check whether the medication is doing something about it. And that is when the doctor told us like it's not doing anything. It's on, yeah, it's only recurring and recurring more. So like I had to be given a different dosage, of which I was changed to some medication, of which I had it for almost 16 cycles. And when I went back for a PET scan now, and that is when the doctor told us like, it's working. And since it's working, this is what you'll be having for the rest of the remaining cycles.
So it was giving you hope, like at least there's progress that is being made.
Yeah, it gave me some hope, a little bit of some hope that I was coming to a point where like I will get better.
You'll get better.
Yeah. But when I went back for my, I no, the time I went back for my PET scan, they realized that the cells are going to the spinal cord, and they had to add more cycles, of which to stop the spreading. Yeah.
Okay. And during the time you're going for chemos, you're taking medication, were you still vaping?
I had come to terms. I had like you sit back and recall the words from my friend, like didn't you see my dad house trained? So I had to go back and call myself a meeting. Like it's the high time I quit this thing. I actually told my doctor I was smoking, but I never, the funny thing is I never told my parents that I used to smoke. They weren't aware because hata wakiniona nao hawatajua ni smoking. Juu the new generation that we are using ni ngumu sana mzazi ajue.
That those are the like those components can be smoked and they have nicotine products.
Yeah.
So you tried quitting or you stopped fully when you're using your medication?
After I had a meeting to myself, I had to make a decision, a hard one, because you finding yourself in a situation where you're diagnosed at my age, being diagnosed with the stage 4 cancer, this is the part where you call yourself a meeting and you realize you have to quit. Otherwise, you'll be gone 6 feet ground. Because like the doctor has to tell you, like, you make a choice. It's either you quit or we can't help you. Because there's no way utapata the medication and still do the smoking. That they can't align.
So you had to stop smoking at that particular time during the medication process.
Yeah,
And
like
how challenging was it? How did you manage? Did you experience any barriers? Or was there?
at some point, I had a friend we were diagnosed with in the ward. She used to come with the shash, and she would tell me, Alice, you know when you have chemo, there's this pain. There's the pain that is unbearable to a point you're given morphine. Morphine lasts for a small hours and then it comes back with the pain. So my friend used to come and tell me, Alice, hii itatusaidia. Tuache kusikia uchungu. So like, I was like, should I try? I was tempted. I was really tempted, but at a point, there's this one time, nili akisha, the shash, and I wanted to smoke. But again, I realized if I smoke, what am I really doing to myself? Am I really helping myself? My family is here training to be strong for me. My doctors are working up and down to help me. Like, what am I really doing to myself? Am I najitengeneza ama najumisa kabisa? Yeah.
So there was that urge to at least quit, but still you're fighting with the addiction of smoking.
Really trying. I was fighting with the addiction, and still when you're having the chemotherapy, I could meet some new friends who are coming to take me back there. I strained with the quitting thing.
So during that particular period, did you find like the hospitals or the health facilities having sensation programs where you could be told maybe taken through the quitting process or how you can quit or how you can be helped on quitting process?
The hospital had some counselors who had to come and talk to us. But I told myself, this is the high time. I don't need a counselor to come and tell me to stop something that is really harming my body. First of all, the counselor wouldn't understand the pain that I was going through. So it was up to me to make a decision on my own, call myself a meeting. And I told myself, like, I can't change the past, but I can always change the future, whereby, like, I don't have to go back to that. I don't have to go back to nicotine because it affected me uh, through myself, and I was around with people who was really smoking it.
Emotionally and mentally, how was your journey when you're being taken through the chemos also and during the use, stigmatization, how did you maneuver all around that? Keeping in mind that you're going to chemo, did it even affect your hairs, your nails, your body, and those who are like surrounding you? Because we heard that you said your friends even didn't come through, those ones specifically whom you were smoking with. So how was the process in terms of damages and also in terms of emotional and mental wellness?
At first, the most painful thing, I was traumatized by the chemotherapy. Chemo is the part where we say I've been in and out of hell because it's really painful, and I was emotionally damaged. I never got a chance to break down, like really cry. You know, when you meet yourself in such situation, there's a point where you find yourself you're really breaking. I never got a chance to break. I stood firm. I realized like this, I'm not the first person to get cancer, neither will I be the last. So I was really traumatized, and the community is one hell of a thing because they can, at a point, the people who are coming to see me in the hospital at home, they would go back and spread false gospel like, huyo ni wetu tu na Mungu. Like the condition that I was in. You see, when a friend come and look at you and you're like, oh yeah, they give you that low self-esteem. I'm like, will I make it tomorrow? Because they will give you that pittiness, of which that is the last thing someone would wish to have, the pittiness. We like to be encouraged and to be told you're good. No matter how bad you look, you need to be told you're good.
Given hope.
Yeah, because for one thing, I came to understand, we don't really, the people who, you can't really die because of a diagnosis that you have. You die because of a mental health. If you tell yourself like you're not going to make it, you imagine you're not going to make it. You're not going to go through it. So like Kijiji, it really traumatized me because they even had spread the gospel like I'm dying. And they gave out the false gospel. By Friday I will not be there, of which it was in between the week.
Sorry. And what would you say to the young generation, seeing you struggle with the medication, the friends who are also accompanying you in the smoking process, and also the new generation products that we have, the vapes, the velos, the flavored ones? What will be, or what will you advise the young people who maybe they want to attempt smoking, or those one who are not aware of smoking or using the vapes or velos?
This is the part where I encourage my generation, then the generation after me and the generation before me. If you have friends who are really smoking, who are really using tobacco and nicotine products, please run for your life, because that is the worst mistake you ever make. Trying is the worst mistake, or even thinking, or even having that thought of, let me try. That is the worst mistake you ever make in your life. You might meet yourself in my condition, in my stage where like you were pronounced stage 4 cancer, of which that is the worst case you ever want to meet yourself in. So I would advise them not to try. And if you're using it, can you kindly, please, check on that and realize, call yourself a meeting and realize this is the part where you have to stop.
Okay, you're calling them to quit or stop smoking. Would you tell something about the tobacco industry? Is it really here to help us grow, or is it just here to make profit at the expense of the public health when they are manufacturing the tobacco products and also coming up with innovative ways, coming up with new generation products, the likes of velos, the likes of vapes, and the flavors?
My take on that is to honestly advise the companies of tobacco makers and nicotine. This could be your brother or your sister or even your mother who meet him or herself in my condition. So I would really advise them to tax higher, and the money that they tax, they can really help the people who are suffering from cancer and these things that and communicable diseases, to really help them with that money instead of like selling it at a cheaper price and in kumaliza the community. You are really draining the community of whereby most of our ages they will afford to pay for the vape and the cigarettes, of which if they tax it higher, you see it will be so difficult for them to get them, and it will reduce the cancer consumptions.
Okay. Because the politicians are here and they want to be voted in. And from your story or from our conversation, we've heard that you've been diagnosed, you here trying to give yourself hope. The community is here trying to spread gospel. Let me say the worst rumors that you're no longer here. And the new generation products are here calling, "Hi, why can't you try me? I'm just a strawberry flavored. I'm just a banana flavored." What would you tell the politicians, more so the parliamentarians, when it comes to policy in terms of raising or passing the tobacco control bill amendments, and also in terms of increasing taxes? Is it okay for them to tax these products to WHO recommendations, and also for them to have a next generation? Would you advise them that they should make these products not easily affordable to the young people by taxing them highly so that they can have people who can vote them?
I would really urge them to make this thing at a higher tax, whereby the next generation or anyone who is thinking to use them cannot afford them. Because let me ask you this: if it's not high taxed and everyone gets to use it, or the next generation that is coming up use them, who do they get to erect them? They have to tax this thing higher so that the generation that is coming and the generation that is here, they will not afford it, and they will get the chance to be elected by the new generation that is upcoming. Because you can't, this thing of tobacco and nicotine is what is really draining the generation. Ndo inamaliza generation yote. So I'd advise them to tax it higher. Yeah, this is the part where this this is where it is all started, and this is where I got the tumor, whereby it started. Yeah.
Alice has been a champion who been affected by smoking and using the new generation products. The industry, you're doing a lot of harm to the society. Coming up with tactics and promoting the harm reduction strategy is not a good thing to the community. From Alice's story, it is so sad to hear that she was even lured into smoking by the workmates. And during her life, she shares how they ran away after that, those whom they were smoking with. Smoking is really harming our young generation. Using the new generation products is really causing a lot of harm to the society. Politicians, we need to protect our young people. We need to save our lives. And if you don't do that, we won't have a generation tomorrow. Stay focused. Don't be interfered with the company, tobacco industry, by giving you money or influencing you so that you cannot pass the laws, you cannot pass the policies. The policies are here for public health and not for the profit that the industry is always having. Let's not mix, and let's not always have the industry prioritize. Profits and public health don't mix.